welcome back to Out the Box Studios, KRK Beats. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about studio monitor management and specifically the Heritage Audio Baby RAM, what it is, what studio monitor management is, and why it's important, how it affects you in your creative process. So, studio monitor management is important if you have multiple sets of studio monitors. If you just have one set, it doesn't affect you. And it's interesting because equipment like this didn't really exist 20 years ago. You only had a few manufacturers of studio monitors, most of them more high end. And now that we see the emergence of home production and home studios, project studios, whatever you want to call them, studio monitor management is important. Some of the brands out there, PreSonus, Mackie, Heritage Audio, there's a few others. But what this allows you to do is switch between studio monitors seamlessly or to listen to all the sets you have. Most of them, well, now you have obviously Apple immersive audio. I was trying to think of it, and things in that nature. So you have systems with hundreds of speakers in some systems, but I shouldn't say hundreds, many, a lot of, I don't know, immersive audio. Now there are brands that make studio monitor management for immersive audio, but for this video we're just talking about up to roughly 3 sets of monitors. In our studio here particularly, we have 2 sets. I had 3 at one point, and I was using the, hold on one second, let me find it. Oh, here it is. The PreSonus studio monitor station, and it blew up. So I actually opened this one up. I was trying to fix it, but sometimes these things burn out. I had this one for about 11 or 12 years, just to give you an idea. Put that back down there. And when it burnt out, I've only been using one set of monitors, which is, you can do it. Hit the camera. Which is nothing wrong with just having one set. It's perfectly fine. You can mix great. Having another set allows you to hear a different sound. And so I was wanting to go to something different since I only have 2 sets of monitors. And I'm going to be reading off of Heritage Audio's website because I tried the Heritage Audio Baby RAM, and I'll show some of the unboxing there. But I ended up sending it back specifically because you have 2 inputs, and there's a switch that can toggle between the 2, and I'll show that on the video, and 2 outputs. But you can only do one out. You can do one output at a time, and I'm trying to phrase this the right way. I wanted the capability to listen to both monitors, A and B, or do A or B, if that makes sense. So flipping between both and having both on at the same time. This one, I hope that makes sense. This one, you kind of can't do that because there's no individual speaker attuning as far as level. So on this one, you have to turn the level on the individual speaker, which I didn't want to deal with that. And you can't listen to both at once, is the best way to put it. I know I would get it eventually. But this unit, if you're looking to have something where you just listen to one set and then you flip to the next and flick back, this is perfect. It's a beautiful, beautiful device. Very well built, and I'll show some pictures of it in the studio. The knob feels good. It's has, I think it's called detinted, or when you click it, you can click it into each. I don't know how to put it. I sound crazy. When you turn it, it makes that clicking sound. It clicks into each volume level, I guess. And with the PreSonus, it doesn't. It's like a floating knob, and there is no numbers on it. You're just going by ear, which I do like. It reminds you of a knob in a certain European cars there is not a, when you turn it, it doesn't show like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a volume level. It just goes by how the level you want. That's how the PreSonus unit works. The Heritage Audio has, uh, I think it goes down to -66, and then it has the infinity, which is 0 in audio terms, which is kind of like backwards. So you're going negative up to 0, which I'm not even going to get in all of that. But for this unit, and you can look at the knob and you'll see what I'm talking about. But for this unit, you have a mono switch, which is nice. And this is passive, meaning you don't plug this up into anything other than the speakers. So the speakers are powering it, which is very, very nice because it can't necessarily burn out like a power switch on the PreSonus unit. So with this one, keep that in mind. It's a large size unit, feels really good, good to touch as far as turning the knob, something that you're going to be using often if you're producing, but you can't switch both speakers on at once. I tried it. You do get audio out of it, but it's not a clean, it's not clean between both speakers, or at least it wasn't for me. So I just want to talk a little bit about studio monitor management. And highlighting this unit, the Baby Ram. I'm reading from the website again. This is a company out of Madrid, Spain. And some of the description brings out Heritage Audio's Baby Ram is the ultimate passive monitoring system. That's part of them. It says it's a boutique passive circuit monitor controller inspired by classic European console designs. Again, I'm reading straight off the website. It says it proudly features a 2-gang 24-step rotary, that's what I was looking for, switch for volume as opposed to cheaper. Okay, something else. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not going into all the details of the Heritage Audio unit. I'm just kind of highlighting my experience with it briefly because I got it in the studio, used it, realized it wasn't for me, and sent it back, which leads me to the next unit, which is the PreSonus Studio Monitor version 2. I'm not going to highlight that in this video. You got to check that out in the next video. I just want to do a brief unboxing of the Heritage Audio unit, talk about studio monitor management, because it's interesting when you're doing home production. One of the things I ran into early on, in the early 2000s, you didn't have a lot of this equipment. You didn't have a lot of studio monitors out there on the market. There were some, but not a lot. And what you find is when you're producing in the box, which is what we do now, versus in a large studio on a console, the level is not the same. No matter how, quote unquote, loud, or the loudness internally, when you're talking about digital music production, you lose some of that. That's where you get lossless sound from as far as streaming. That audio, lossless audio, is as close to the original recording as you can get. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but when you're making home production, or you're creating, I should say, home production or home audio, you can get those levels, but you have to have a way of reading, quote unquote, in the real world or analog, where your volume levels are at. And that's what studio monitor management also helps with, having VU meters, like actual analog VU meters, to let you know. And that's another thing. The Heritage Audio unit doesn't have a VU meter, which the PreSonus unit, the Mackie unit, and if most of others, it's a company, Dharma or Drummer, I got to look that up. They make one. I'll put the name on the screen. But this unit, the Heritage Audio unit, now they do have units above the Baby Ram that have VU meters, but it's important to have an external VU meter. And a lot of, I even show little B-roll of the audio interfaces. A lot of audio interfaces now have VU meters on there, which I don't know off the top of my head what or VU stands for. I'll put it on the screen, but it's basically a meter of audio level. And what the studio monitor management is doing is taking that signal before it goes to your speakers. It comes out of the computer, goes to your audio interface. Audio interface is going to the studio monitor management, which lets you get an idea of where your actual levels are at. And the Apollo, I was trying to think of the name, Apollo series, they have VU meters on there, which are very, very accurate. But it's nice to have a secondary VU meter. And that's why, again, I wanted to go with the PreSonus unit. I just like the way it looks. The new ones are black. The one I showed before is silver. I believe the new unit is smaller. I haven't gotten that in the studio yet, but for now, I've just been using the one set of monitors. However, like I said, the Heritage Audio unit, which specifically I'm highlighting in this video, it is a very, very, very nice unit. It may not be for you. I was interested in and couldn't find out if you could use those buttons to toggle the outputs, if you could use 1 and 2 together. You can't or you can, but the signal is not really clean. It's more so designed to be used, to audition A monitors and then B monitors, or 1 and 2. On the PreSonus unit, it's ABC. It does up to 3. The Heritage Audio Baby Ram only does up to 2. It's a passive unit, meaning it doesn't plug into the wall. You just plug the speakers in. I would highly recommend it if you just are looking for something very basic that you can switch between one set of monitors to the other. If that is what you're looking for, the Heritage Audio Baby Ram is definitely for you. It's a beautiful unit. I didn't want to send it back, but it's a waste of money if the equipment doesn't suit your needs fully. And you can check out the prices. I don't go into all of that in our videos. I just want to talk about the equipment, and you can check out online, see what prices you can get, because you can get some of these things secondhand off of like Reverb or whatnot. So the price you get it for is maybe not the price that I would quote it. Now, I just want to talk about the equipment in relation to your creative process. And you may not even need studio monitor management. If you have a set of speakers and an audio interface that works for you, perfect. If you're looking for something, like I said, that you can switch between two, it gives you a relative level control in the real world. It does not have a VU meter, but it doesn't have a power unit to plug in that'll burn out. So take those things into consideration. Check out studio monitor management from, like I said, PreSonus, Mackie, Heritage Audio. There's many others you can check out, but that's just a little intel into what studio monitor management is, why you may need it, the issues you may have if you don't have it, trying to get the correct levels in the quote-unquote real world. When you produce something in the box and then you put it on, probably not put it on a CD, but if you put it on a CD or if you're streaming it, it may not be to the same level, and studio monitor management will definitely help with that. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it gave you some ideas creatively, how you can change your setup if it's needed. Heritage Audio Baby Ram, nice unit. Check out Heritage Audio. They make some very, very, very nice equipment as far as build quality and cost to build quality. You're getting some good equipment. So check them out. KRK Beats here at Out the Box Studios. I like to end every video with just a thought, worry about yourself, and I don't mean that in a selfish way, but I think if we all would take a little time to focus on not pointing the finger at other people, blaming others for our mistakes, looking for problems with other people, but just seeing good in individuals. And granted, not everybody that you come across, you may feel that you're able to do that, but to the best of your ability, really scrutinize yourself, but give yourself room to breathe, room to grow, and others as well. Being patient with yourself and patient with others. KRK Beats here at Out the Box Studios. Studio monitor management. Is it something that's affecting your studio? Let me know. All right.